For your lab assignment, there are two programs that you're going to create. The first one is basically a little golf program, and it's a very simple program. You are going to create a new solution file, and you'll call it lesson 3 program 1. In that solution file, you're going to need a namespace called golf and a class called my scores. Now, if you remember when you first come into Visual Studio, it doesn't have really any namespace or class set up. Okay, so we got C# console app. Okay, so you're going to have to add some of that. So I'm just going to say using system because I know I'm going to do a console write. And then I'll say namespace. And what did we want to call it? Golf. And then I've got an opening and a closing curly. And then I'm going to do a class. My scores. Okay. And then I need to add my main method. Now, if you're not sure on the syntax for that, if you go over to the key point lecture, I'm sure you can find some examples of the main method that you can actually copy and paste. Let me see, I'm just going to throw it right in here and then split apart my curly braces here. Okay, and so I'll click and kind of get rid of that default code. Let me press enter here. All right, so that's how it should look when you set this up. And honestly, you could probably copy some of this, or copy from another program if you wanted to. There's plenty of examples, but that is how it should look to start with. Okay, and then you can pretty much follow the directions in the main method. So inside here, you're going to create two integer variables named average and score. Okay, so you're going to have int average score, and then you'll have int score. Okay, set average score equal to a value between 50 and 100. So you guys get to pick that. So, I mean, you can just do int, that should be indented. Int average score equals, and you pick whatever number that you want. So this is their average golf score. Okay, and then for score, it's going to be kind of the same thing. So you're going to say int score equals, and then for score, it's a value between 30 and 100. So I'm just going to do 58. Okay, now the little green squiggles are underneath those two variables because we have not used them yet. Okay. And so then your next task is to create an if-else statement. Okay, so that is going to go right here. It says you need to check to see if the score is greater than the average. Okay, so you're going to say if, and then in parentheses, score greater than symbol, average score. And then if that is true, you'll do a console.writeLine displaying this message. Else, you'll do a console.writeLine displaying this one. Okay, and that is the whole program. For program 2, you're going to do a new project. And this one's going to be called lesson 3, program 2. And so you'll do the using system statement, but instead of a namespace of golf, you're going to call this one numbers. Okay, and then your class is going to be called max and min. Then you have to have that main method again. In the main method, you're going to have an integer called max and another one called min. Okay, so you've got max and you have another one called min. Okay, set max equal to a number between 50 and 100. So you pick the number. Set min equal to a number between 1 and 49. Any number you want. And then we have another integer that we need to create called input. So it's going to be the same exact thing. So it's going to be int input equals, and then you pick a number between 1 and 100. Then you need an if else. And what you basically need to check is if the input is greater than the max. Okay, so I did something like this. Let's say the input has to be what? Between 1 and 100, make it 25. So my if statement is going to be if input greater than max, just like that. So if that is true, then I'm going to print console.writeLine. The new maximum value is max. And also in the if, I'm going to set max equal to input. So I'm going to do two different things in the if statement if it's true. So I'm just going to put if. I'm not going to put the condition in here because I want you guys to do that. Although I have it right up here, honestly, so might as well copy it. All right, because I'm doing two things, if it's true, I do need to put it in curly braces. Okay, so then if that is true, then I'm going to put the input into max and I'm going to print out the statements. I'm going to do two different things if it's true. Okay. Then I need another, if it's false, I'm just going to display a little message that the maximum hasn't changed. So I'm just going to have an else. I don't really need curly braces down here, but it doesn't hurt to add them. I'm just going to basically have one statement in here that says that the maximum value hasn't changed. Okay, then I'm going to do kind of the same thing for min. But I'm going to check to see if the input is less than the min. Okay, so it's going to kind of be the same thing. So you could actually kind of copy and paste this little structure. Obviously, this part changes. Okay, and then if that's true, then the min is going to equal the input, and you're going to have a second statement where you write out the new minimum is, and then min. And then for the else, you would just have a console.writeLine indicating the minimum hasn't changed. Okay, and that's pretty much the whole program. Okay, so I don't really think you guys are going to have any problems with this, but if you do, let me know. Once the program is done, you are going to copy the code and paste it into the Dropbox. Okay, basically just like you did last week.